All right, welcome back to another episode of Community Coffee Time. We are live on Facebook. All right. Hello. Awesome. Today we are joined by Jari Majewski Price from Feel the Beat. And it's live on Facebook, so I'll be kind of looking at comments. But if you're watching later, feel free to comment now, ask us questions later. We're super willing to be engaged whenever you guys are checking this out. Today I actually am drinking tea, so kind of breaking my coffee time tradition a little bit. But I got some vanilla chai tea. I plan on picking up maybe like a frappuccino treat later today. So I was like, I probably shouldn't have too much coffee. But yeah, Jari, are you drinking anything this morning?
Yes, I'm actually drinking. I didn't put it in tea form, but a plant-based like protein smoothie because I need some
Nice.
energy for classes I'm teaching later.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, coffee sounds good, but sometimes I gotta weigh like, do I want to be dehydrated this early? I don't know.
I know, right? Plus, what I got my water bottle next to me as
Yep.
always.
As always, yep, I do have a water too. Always, always, always. Especially, I feel like when I do these things, every now and then my voice just like goes out because it'll be like the morning, and
Oh
with
yeah,
all the singing I'm up to, it's just like I'm like, oh my gosh, I need my water right now.
totally. I'm always like, excuse me, and just
Yeah.
little side sip because otherwise you're just talking all the time as well. So
Right.
you need
Exactly.
that hydration. Colorado, dry weather.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I'm so excited to talk with you today. Jari is the founder and CEO of Feel the Beat. So we're going to talk about your nonprofit and about dance and music education for individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing. So I'm so excited to share your work with the community and how you're helping. And I love your energy and just the way you're connecting with different people in the community. So I'm super excited for future collaboration and this collaboration of sharing you today.
Well, thank
So
you
yeah.
so much, Bonnie. I'm so excited to be here, and I am thrilled to have met you and have, gotten that initial connection because what we're up to is just such a beautiful overlapping of initiatives. And I'm just, happy to be a part of this wonderful coffee time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. To start, would you mind giving us a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. So my name is Jari Majewski Price. I am the founder and executive director of Feel the Beat, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to making the experience of music possible for those who are deaf, hard of hearing, and with diverse special needs. And we do that through very unique bone conduction technology that's embedded underneath and into our dance floors that provide vibrational energy that enable you to fully experience all elements of music, sound, rhythm, beat, what have you. And those who have a different level of hearing loss can fully immerse themselves in music and dance classes alike.
That's awesome. We're going to talk more about the floor today. I have questions. I just think that's the coolest technology.
I,
Um,
I agree. I mean,
yeah. I'm like, what a cool, awesome idea.
you know, it is pretty special. So
Awesome. Yeah. Well, do you mind digging a little more into Feel the Beat? How did it come to be? How did you get started with it?
Yeah, so I have been a deaf and special needs educator for about 10 years, probably a little more. Um, I worked a little throughout college as well, but I've also been immersed in sign language and signing since I'm 10 years old. So, uh, you know, way more than half my life at this point. Um, and both Julia, my co-founder, and I were working in a deaf and special needs, what we call like a multiple need or deaf plus classroom. And we just became incredibly aware of how limited activity, how the limitations on accessible activities and experiences that are out there that, our neurotypical kids can sign up for, jump into, immerse themselves with, and our students just had that longing, but not necessarily the means or the accessible support to be able to partake in those activities and events, experiences, what have you. So there's a piece of that. And then noticing, well, Julia and I had tried to make our schools like extracurricular music, art, gym classes, those classes
Right.
that are mandated for students to be mainstreamed and join throughout the day. How do we make those classes work for our students? How do we get them to connect to those music courses and gym and movement classes? And we ended up getting really creative, both in our classroom and pushing into those music and movement classes. And we started incorporating music and movement into our run-of-the-mill, daily lessons, whether it be moving a certain amount of times in a math lesson, or moving along as we jump out to certain letters, or
Right.
what have you. But we noticed this incredible and profound difference that it was making in our students' lives. And that wasn't even our intention. They were motivated, they were self-soothing, they were more focused, they had a new drive, they were accessing like memory abilities in a different way, they were retaining information in it. They say muscle memory can be a lot stronger than memory acquired audibly or visually. So just like those movements, along with whatever education stream we were implementing, just had these really great benefits, and our students were growing. Then we also tried connecting their music classes through tactile input and tactile sensations. So we the simplest thing, turn on music and put your hand up to a speaker. Go into a classroom with different variations of instruments, have one play the instrument while the other one feels and plays around in that tactile educational element. And I actually have pictures of this. It wouldn't be easy to access like this, but like our students' faces lit up. It was like the most life-changing moment of my life. And I turned to Julia and I'm like, okay, that's it. We have to create something. We have to do something that meets these needs that are out there while there is nothing currently accessible for these children. Right. So, that just started the whole exploration and journey of seeing what already exists that maybe we could collaborate and expand on. B, formatting some kind of simplistic curriculum that would meet these children's needs. And then, of course, the next component, finding a technological platform that would provide access to music for students with a different level of hearing loss. So that's the short of it.
Right. Wow, that's incredible. And so do you have like a dance music background yourself?
Yeah, great question. So I grew up dancing, 3-4 years old,
Right.
always been immersed in dance and movement. Julia comes from yoga and all of those movement backgrounds. That is not my forte.
Little music joke for the listeners out there.
Didn't even mean to, but and I've done musical theater most of my life. I actually went to undergrad and got a BFA in musical theater, as well as a degree in sign language and deaf studies. And then I, further completed with a master's in deaf education, special ed, and early childhood. So, it really, without going into my education path, having Feel the Beat in mind, it really is like the creation of all of my
Right.
gifts, my passions, my education, my background, combined into one. So, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that makes a lot of sense, and it's cool to see, when you're in the classroom, in the special ed classrooms, you kind of just took, you took yourself in there, so the
Yeah.
music came up naturally, and Julia, her yoga stuff came up naturally, and you guys were able to really explore and see like the reactions, and as you're describing how they're responding to music, I'm just like, I'm like that music therapist in the
Yeah.
corner that's like, yep, you're speaking my language. So it's just so cool how you found that through that exploration, and then we're like seeing that the need for this specific group of
Mhm.
kiddos with disabilities.
Yeah.
Because I know in my experience, I haven't had a lot of experience working with kids with hearing impairments or who are deaf. A little bit in my internship, but not as much as I would like.
Mhm.
So even hearing like those experiences and those explorations, I feel like gave me, I was like, oh, like wheels turning, things that make a lot of sense to me because of my background, but
Mhm.
things I'm learning from you right now too. Is like, oh, that makes so much sense, and really cool to see those opportunities presented to them.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool. And yeah, I also feel like we have similar experience, at least with the I I don't want to speak for you, but for me, it's like I grew up in marching band, and it was
Yeah.
like this huge part of my identity growing up.
Completely.
Right. And so I can tell you have those experiences growing up too. And so not only do we see kids respond positively to music, but I think with me, I'm like, oh, I want them to have what I had, and there's just not those opportunities.
Mhm.
So for example, I do a lot of bucket drumming classes, and that's a lot where that comes from. Is I'm like, some marching band programs might let a kid in, but I know from at least my experience, it's not very accessible, and it's going to be hard for them in that avenue, unfortunately. Hopefully, we can work on that in the future too. But with bucket drumming, I'm like, how can we, like stimulate a similar experience where
Mhm.
it's like that camaraderie in music and drumming
Yeah.
together and provide that for kids with disabilities? And
Mhm.
so I can kind of see that experience reflected in yourself too. You're like, music's been so important to me. How do we provide this to these group of kids?
That's such a great point, and very, very observational of you, because you pinpointed it for sure. I actually, with it, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Um, do you do like full on, like you said, you do bucket drumming? Do you do like either group classes, or would you do almost like a performance class or something, like providing the same kind of means or intention of marching band, but with bucket drumming and, kiddos with different limitations?
Yeah, I think I don't currently do that, but I think that's definitely a long term vision
Yeah.
before the pandemic. And then, of course, the pandemic happens, right? I was toying around with creating like a percussion ensemble.
Ooh.
And then pandemic happened, so I should probably get back into that idea.
Yeah.
Um, but just like, yeah, kind of a traditional percussion ensemble, but an inclusive one. I think would be
Do that.
so
Let's do
fun.
that at Field, like at the studio.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
set
Because
up
I was telling you before the call, I have a marimba,
like
and then I found a place I could rent instruments because I don't own like a big bass drum or whatever, but there's stores you can rent, and it was pretty affordable. So like the biggest thing was space. So this could be a good collaboration, and then working on like signups and finding the right people
right, of
who'd be
course.
interested in the group. Because I don't know if you find this in your experience, but right now we're getting kind of businessy for all our viewers, but I feel like some of the things I offer are things that haven't been offered, and so it's hard to market it because families are hesitant. They're like, oh, I don't know about bucket drumming, and it's
Mhm.
like, I promise it's gonna be fun. Like,
Well, you know what we can do? We can start off just like a free workshop, like a one-time masterclass or something, where we can pull in from all of my student base and your student base, come to Feel the Beat, feel the floor, connect to the music, give this experience a try. And if you're interested, let's sign up for whatever it would be, whether it's a class
Right.
or class for performance intentions or what have you. But I think that would be a really, great start.
Yeah, and that's definitely where my bucket drumming like
Yeah.
vision is where I want to take it right now. I've developed like an online curriculum, and
Mhm.
so I have some dates at Guided by Humanity actually set up where
Oh,
to
okay.
kind of do the in-person version, and then
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, I would love it to become like a more long-term thing,
Yeah.
and like work towards like performance kind of stuff. Actually, it was after I graduated, but my sister and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, were still in percussion, and they got to do like bucket drumming stuff to raise money, like
Oh,
to go to Midwest Clinic actually.
that's so
Um, and yeah, and I think that's where that even that bucket drum idea
cool.
started, because that was just so much fun and it was super casual too. And I'm like, oh, just
Yeah.
just to provide those kind of opportunities for kids, it
Mhm.
was so fun. Just even jamming, it was by BurgerFi, and we were just
Yeah. Oh,
having fun on these bucket drums.
so much fun.
Yeah,
Sorry we got sidetracked, but that for
yeah.
viewers,
If you're watching, yeah.
our bucket class when we announce.
Or if you're interested, if like a percussion ensemble thing sounds interested, like feel free to message or comment me too,
Yeah.
like because I'd love to collaborate, even in the community with what families are looking for. So yeah, we got a little sidetracked, but it's all connected.
Yep.
I feel like this is a good segue to talk about the floor, because I'd love to. How in the world did you guys come up with that idea? I can see it a little bit from like feeling the speaker, but at what point were you like, we need a floor that does this? Because that is amazing.
Yeah. So really funny. Early on, so imagine like me and my quirky energy in a deaf special needs classroom, right? And I get even more energetic, let's say, when kids are involved. So everything's amplified. And I am constant, like you are constantly on the ball, on the, like moving, ideas. This doesn't work. All right, we'll shift to this, or I'll pull this tool out of my toolbox, or this trick out of my hat, all those kinds of things. And moving in that world. One day when we were, it was also incorporating music and movement, or all of which in our day-to-day classes, I turned to Julia and I said, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so cool if we had an entire floor made out of a speaker? That is not what we have today. That's
Okay.
not at all what it is. But like that was like that
Right.
light bulb, like that was that idea. And totally not like it, if you actually think about it logistically, it doesn't really make sense. Like you can't really dance or move on top of like that actual speaker, whether it's like the foam or that like plastic covering, but like that's where the wheels started turning. So when we like hit the go button and we're like, okay, we're going to create a program. First, we didn't have a studio. We were just renting out space on weekends, doing free workshops for kids and families. Um, First, we started like, okay, what technology is out there? Because we're also, as my particular profession has a lot of connection and overlap with accessible technology. And like there's a huge element of that. So it wasn't so much of a far stretch of like what else is out there.
Right.
We know that there's vibrational tools and haptic technology out there that helps the deaf population with um, alarms and wake up vibrations, and of course our phone. And there's like visible like flashing lights for doorbells, and all those kinds of things. So like we know it exists. How do we just implement it somewhat differently? So we started exploring. I think we started with like bass shakers, and I forget the name of it was like a floor top transducer. I'm like blanking on the name right now, but it was one of those transducers, tiny, you put on top of a surface, and the one of them, the surface vibrates, and another, it creates, or it I don't even remember, like it reflects music by its, through its touch. Totally not applicable for helping those who are deaf or hard of hearing, but like, we just started experimenting, and
Right.
I purchased everything I could find on Amazon, and we tested it out. Like that's really what it looked like. And I kept sharing and connecting with different sound engineers, music engineers, structure, this, that, and the other thing. One person led me to another idea, who led me to another, who led me to another. We found something that vibrated surfaces that you could put like in the walls. So then you could put it under the floor. But again, those vibrate. And although it was really, really cool, we were nervous structurally having that much vibration under a surface. And it didn't quite grasp like the whole embodiment of music and instrumentation and, all of those compounding elements that make music so profound. So we were like, all right, we're really close. We're not quite there. And we didn't even know if something better existed. And then in came Clark synthesis, bone conduction transducer. It was just, fate, like
Right.
stars aligning. It already exists, like this technology already existed, and it's a lot larger platform. So it's able to provide that tactile sound on a much broader spectrum. And that is what we ended up first, we tested it out and we did all those kinds of things. And that's what we ended up creating our dance floor with. And there's, in our studio, there's 22 of those bone conduction transducers. And then we have our mobile floor platform, which is now patented and being manufactured and such. And every 4x4 has one transducer, and it resonates beautifully. You could add more 4x4s. They all interconnect. It's very mobile, easy, accessible, all that good stuff. And what that technology actually does that's so particular is the connection between yourself and that technology. It has your bones vibrate. So it's not vibrating the surface. It's not moving anything. It's not vibrating your body. It vibrates like internally through your bones, which bypasses your inner ear. So those who are deaf and hard of hearing can fully experience, feel, and some even hear, through tactile vibration rather than like airwaves. So
Right.
it's
I
unbelievable.
got chills. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering, like, and that's cool to know, like, the floor isn't shaking and it doesn't like shake the person. It's like completely sensory, like internal, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what we recently started doing? I don't remember if I mentioned this to you or not. Specifically for music classrooms, like we started doing this for music rooms within a school that has a program for deaf and hard of hearing students, so that they can better have access to music and music lessons and whatnot. We started, think the exact same idea of those mobile platforms. We've started embedding the technology in stools or like small chairs or whatever, so that they can go into those classrooms and kids can either put their hand on it, sit on it. I mean, some like drape over it.
Yeah.
But it's been, I can't even tell you the feedback and the impact it's had, because those teachers up until then had been completely lost with how you provide access to their music lessons for those with a hearing loss. And students have gone from 0 to 100, like 0 participation and access to full participation, lit up, excited, expressing, whatever. And then we started discussing this opportunity with certain music therapists. So if that was ever something you're interested in, it's not like crazy expensive. It's,
Right.
pretty much just build it and not make a profit. It's just like we want to provide it.
Right.
So no profit to us really. It's just like if you want that done, it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
That's
We'll talk. We'll talk. Oh, so cool. All right, we're kind of winding down. We'll end with like a tip. But before that, if somebody were to sign up for a class at Field of B, what would they expect to experience?
Yeah. Well, we have um, a full, extensive class schedule, more extensive, in fall and spring months. Summer is a little more condensed. But we have all offerings, everything from ballet, jazz, hip hop, children's yoga, adult yoga. I can't think. We have cardio fitness, like dance fitness classes, the full gamut. Different, each class is offered in different age levels slash uh, like experience level. Our teachers that we have at Feel the Beat are, of course, equipped to work with those who are neurotypical, hearing, and whatnot. They are, dancers and dance teachers, um, first and foremost. And all of our teachers also have either deaf ed experience, they're special educators, occupational therapists, sign language interpreters, deaf educators, or dancers who are fluent or conversational in sign language. So our teachers we are so blessed. We have such an incredible Feel the Beat team on our staff, and we'd love to have anyone and everyone give us a try. First class is always a free trial, and even then, if you don't feel like you've had or found your perfect class fit, we will always work with you and make sure you feel comfortable, having fun, and progressing.
Awesome. That all sounds great. All right. What tip or resource do you want to share with everyone today?
Yeah. So one, and I mentioned this to Bonnie earlier, everyone is welcome to visit our Feel the Beat YouTube channel, which has a whole library of accessible movement activities, dance activities, and more to boot. Lots of fun, lots of movement, lots of cardio. And then we also have things like accessible art projects and story time and, lots of different things. So please check it out and enjoy, subscribe. And then, one quick tip I wanted to share in the realm of making music and dance accessible, just a really easy way to start off. When I'm working with students with hearing loss, physical disabilities, intellectual, visual, what have you, I always start off with whatever song is being played, implementing that rhythm and rhythmic practice into your body. Because again, as I mentioned much earlier, muscle memory can be a lot stronger than any other kind of, intellectual or visual, audible memory. So inputting something into your body will by default have some kind of memory and something for kids and students to go back to. So if there was a song, I would go like head to toe, like put it into your shoulders, put it into your chest, put it into your legs. Sometimes if a student is, we have that vibrational floor to always connect the music to, but if a kid resembles some kind of disconnect with it, we'll even go over with their permission, of course, and input that beat into their body. And just that input sends, a specific kind of message to their brain and their muscle groups, and it provides that bridge, that connection, and uh, accessible platform just with that simple tool.
Awesome. That's a great tip. And it's kind of funny you say that because I'll start a lot of lessons where we just like drum a steady beat to a
Yeah,
preferred song. And so I love that kind of extra,
yeah.
really like proprioceptive kind of
Mhm.
getting the body like a
Yeah.
lot more involved into it too. So I might try that out. I'm going to take that tip.
You should. It's wonderful. And you don't need instruments to start playing music.
Right, exactly. You can, yeah, you just get right into it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Jari. Is there, or how can people reach you? Let's make sure we get
Yeah.
that said, and I'll try to put it in the description when this
Mhm.
gets like uploaded later
Yeah.
too.
So you can always check us out on our website, which is www.feelthebeat.dance. And then you are always welcome to email us anytime at info@feelthebeat.dance. And
Awesome.
we will respond to you within less than a day. And we look forward to connecting with anyone and everyone.
Awesome. I'll make sure that's in the description. I'll make sure and the YouTube channel and your website for sure. So
Awesome.
that people can check out all the awesome things that Feel the Beat is up to.
Thank you so much for having me, Bonnie. It's been such a pleasure and such a gift getting to know you.
Yeah, right back at you. And I'm so like, after this, it's like everybody watched us network a little more too, because it's like, oh, I gotta go email her after this.
Right?
I'm so excited to just continue connecting with you and collaborating with you in the future.
Likewise. We'll have a wonderful day and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And bye to everyone watching. And like I said, feel free to comment later. And yeah, catch everyone in the next episode. All right, see ya.